Good morning, all, and welcome to calendar week 02 of 2026, a week in books. The snow came last week and doubled down in this one. We had the most exciting winter storms at night, and for the most part, beautiful cold ice cream blue skies during the day. Surprisingly, the tomato house was completely unfazed by the buffeting of the winds. I lay in bed one night waiting to hear it collapse, but it seems to be solid enough. I've decided to spend some money on the next phase of construction and have ordered a bunch of OSB boards to make the roofing with. They should turn up sometime shortly after I return from the UK. Winter, though, is for reading, drinking tea, and sitting slightly too close to the fire. This week I finished What We Can Know by Ian McEwan. It's just fantastic. True craftsmanship with the keyboard. The story is told in two parts, one set around now and the other in something like 100 years in the future. Or in other words, either side of the climate collapse. A future historian obsessed with a particular poem from our time is a brilliant way to think about climate change, the perspectives and lifestyles of ordinary human beings on both sides. I'm going to stop there before this newsletter becomes a book review of a single book. That was not the plan. So let us create an exciting diversion. A chap came from the council and snowploughed the drive. I'd spent the week digging human-sized footpaths, and all of a sudden I had car-sized ones. It felt wrong somehow. I didn't want to be connected to the outside world quite like that. Part of the infinite network of roads connecting all places. I like being cut off. Still, it is done now. He did also manage to cut through the internet cable in two places, the one from the big house to the loft. I spliced it at -10 Celsius, which was actually okay, but brilliantly managed to thread the chair I was sitting on onto it. So that chair is now permanently fixed in place. And they let me vote. Crazy. Something new, something old. This week's book is to be Lark Rise to Candleford by Flora Thompson. Apparently it was made into a series by the BBC. I didn't see it. I think I started to read it a million years ago, but none of it seems very familiar. It's very possible I gave up early last time. I'll try to make it to the end this time through. If nothing else, old pastoral books of an English countryside can be a peculiar but useful source of inspiration for my own writing. To wit, I'm hardly 10% through the book. I really am supposed to be getting on with, and already I want to be tucking into a project I've been thinking about for a long time. A modern English translation of The History of Plants by Rembert Dodoens. Translating, if that is the right word, from the 1578 Old English translation of the 1554 Dutch original. The book is the original pharmacopoeia, often known under its short form of its original Dutch title, Kruidboek, and was the first real attempt at scientific categorization of plants, predating Linnaeus by a good 150 years. It's fascinating and interesting and quite hard to read. It's not old, though. Not compared to the other book I'm dipping in and out of, Roman Farm Management. Two treatises from about 200 years BCE by two chaps mononymously remembered as Cato and Varro. It's the oldest surviving prose book in Latin, and it's all about how to most effectively run a profitable slave-worked farm. The whole of Rome ran on slavery. You could even say that was the point of it. A Hunger Games empire to supply the elites. No, wait, not so different from today. Anyway, it has lots of interesting things to say on agriculture, and the fact that it's all done with human power with a few donkeys and oxen gives it a scale which is far more interesting to me than learning how to ride a tractor, spraying exotic chemicals on horizon-busting fields of monoculture crops. It also lends itself to some excellent schoolboy quotes. On his olive farm, there are required 3 asses to haul out the manure, and the like. In positive pirate book news, I hit the first deadline for the publishers. It was only a little one, but it was an important one all the same. It's going to need some tweaking, but getting it to my editor on time was probably the most important part of the exercise. And don't forget, I am going to be sending inscribed first editions to all my annual supporters of the newsletter as a mark of my thanks and gratitude. If you want in, you know what to do. And I'm 5 minutes late for the pigs. Much parity love. See you next week. Your Pirate Ven. XO.